Hey, Garland Vance here, and I've been having a lot of conversations with people who are talking about how being in the midst of a pandemic feels like you have lost control. And that comes with it a tremendous diminishment of our sense of peace and calm in the midst of life. And it makes total sense, right? When things feel out of control, when they feel like we don't have any ability to have some sense of control over things, then our lives feel much less peaceful. We need a sense that we're in control of things. And yet this coronavirus is really wreaking havoc on a lot of that. And so I want to introduce you to a tool that I've used with corporations. I've used it with CEOs, and I've used it all the way down to working with 6-year-old kids to understand how to gain a sense of control, of agency, of direction in your own life when things feel out of control and very stressful. So the first thing that we need to do is acknowledge that there's really 3 areas of our lives. We have areas that we have control, things that we can control, things that we can have some sense of control over. Then we have areas that we can influence. And finally, we have areas in our lives where there's no control. So since this is an election year, let me kind of give an example using this. This is not a political statement. This just is the acknowledgement that in this year there's going to be a lot more higher emotions and a lot of things that some people are going to be really excited and some people are going to be really disappointed, whatever it is that happens. And so this is an example I use a lot of times, that I truly have no control whatsoever over who is elected as president or as what decisions the president makes. I have no control over that. I do have some influence over who is elected as president. So, and the way that I have that is I can vote. I have some sense of influence. Now, when it comes to a presidential election, here's what I can do. I have complete control over a lot. I can control how much I research the candidates. I can control who I vote for, or even if I vote. I can control my attitude no matter what happens in the election. See, in the midst of everyday life, there's certain things that I can control, things that I can simply influence, and then there's things that I have no control over whatsoever. So what does this have to do with coronavirus and this massive pandemic? Well, here is the hard part of it, is I can't control anything about this virus. I have no control over COVID-19. I have no control over whether it continues to spread throughout the globe or whether it all of a sudden is miraculously changed. I have no control over that whatsoever. I do, however, have some influence that can affect it. So I can influence others with social distancing. I actually had a friend who did this yesterday. I saw him on the street, and I inadvertently started getting a little close, and he was like, "Hey, whoa, social distancing." And immediately he influenced my behavior. He couldn't control me, but he could influence me. So there's a way of exerting influence during this time. You can't control, if you have kids who are staying at home, you can't control if they are doing their homework, and you can't control if they interrupt you, but you can create and you can influence how they interrupt you or if they interrupt you. And so I've influenced my kids by saying, if my office door is closed, that means you can't interrupt me right now. I can't control it, but I can influence it. And finally, there are some things that you can control. You can control your attitude. during this time. You can control your behavior during this time. You can control your social distancing. You can control when you wake up. You can control whether you set priorities every day. You can control so much during this time, but you can't control everything. And so learn to be at peace with the things that you can control. Learn to do your best in the things that you can influence. And then learn to be at rest in the things that you have no control over whatsoever. This is a great tool that I've found in everyday life to help people understand what do I have control over, what do I merely have influence over, and what do I not have any control over. It's a great tool for your life and your leadership. So acknowledge what you have control of today, embrace the control that you have, and take control of it, and rest in the fact that that is the best that you can do. My name is Garland Vance, and I want to help you live and lead with purpose, productivity, and peace.